Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Club Live here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. We are live on YouTube and on Twitter, or X, if you youngsters want to call it that. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, get yourself involved in the live chat as well as we take a wee bit of a deep dive into the current situation at Rangers. I was saying I am Scott Carney, and joining me is the two lads I'll introduce very shortly. What I was saying to them, we don't often just kind of go off on tangents. Well, we do, but tonight will be a very much a counselling session, I think, for a lot of us, because there's just a lot of stuff that I think we need to speak about, and there's stuff that I think we'll all need to get off our chests. But yes, joining me tonight for this therapy session is first of all, Ross McLean. Ross, how are you?
Good evening, gents. We are back. It is Friday. It is good vibes for now. Rangers have still to play, so enjoy it while it lasts. Yes, it's been a pretty dull week, lads. Let's be fair. It's been very flat after that performance on Tuesday, but that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to chat about, and there's no better people to join it with than the folk in the chat. It's good to see everyone as always, and yes, let's get straight into it this evening.
Yes, indeed, and also Scott Gemmell. Scott, I'm hoping for your ways of talking me round to your point of view, mate. But I met you at half time on Tuesday night, and I think you're probably in the same boat as me, mate. For a change.
Yes, evening, Carney, evening, everyone. Yes, I am they're slowly chipping away at my soul, Rangers. I think it's fair to say. I was living in this like sort of hellish purgatory, Groundhog Day sort of feelings of bigging yourself up for a game, getting disappointed when you kind of expected it, and then now trying to talk ourselves up again for another massive. Can't understate how massive this weekend is for Rangers and for Russell Martin in particular. I think because it's not been enjoyable so far.
No, and for my sanity, Scotia, it would be quite nice if things just went well this weekend. I would thoroughly enjoy that instead of having to go around the houses again about the current state of affairs at Rangers. But yeah, that's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to look at probably three main things, obviously with bits dropped into it as well, but we're going to look at the manager, we're going to look at the system, we're going to look at the players, and we're going to try and figure out for Russell Martin, who is probably tuning in right now, sitting down with his glass of whatever he chooses to drink, to sit and watch our opinions on how to fix matters at Rangers. I'd be shocked if he is not doing that. We will start though. Obviously, I don't want to go too much into it because I did quite a lengthy reaction after the game on Tuesday evening, and obviously the it's been well covered from pretty much every angle, from mainstream media to fan media, just how ridiculously poor it was. But Ross, it's got to be up there with the worst you've ever seen, surely, because it's definitely some of the worst, if not the worst, 20 minutes of football I've ever seen from a Rangers team.
I don't know how you get lost. I genuinely don't, and that sounds like being over dramatic, but genuinely, you saw it with your eyes, gents. That's you don't get worse than that. There's a level of the Champions League that yes is very very good. I don't even think that's nowhere near the best of the best you'll get in the Champions League in terms of Bruges. Yes, they're a good team, but you're going to face way worse than that from a Rangers point of view. And the fact that that's how we come off, you're 3-0 down, all that, just we're not a Champions League side, lads. We're not. It's very, very clear to me. I know it's don't get it, I know it's still very early stages in this team. The words that everyone will love to hear, that you have to endure a bit of pain, That's what we're kind of getting branded with just now. But that was a bit more than a bit of pain, Martin. Unfortunately, that was a large sample of it. So yes, no more of that. No more of that. There's a very big uphill climb, and we've only got ourselves to blame for it. And yeah, we go into next week, unfortunately, with a flat feeling, which we should have. We've let's be fair, we've done very well to get to this stage. We should deserve to feel optimistic going into this round, but far from it, lads. Far from it. For me, Sunday is a much bigger game now. Because I don't see us going through. I'll be honest. Next Tuesday, but that first half for me is. I know it's out of the way. It's over and done with. If I beg that we don't need to put ourselves through it again. Hopefully we learn from it and we can move on.
Yeah, you've got to hope so. Davey, member for 28 months. Thank you, mate. Honestly, thank you so much for sticking around. And Fall Back to Mex as well for becoming a YouTube member. Very much appreciated. It's Northern Ireland green before anybody says anything. And no, I can't change it. I've tried. So no, it's not possible. Scotia, Ross mentioned the pain that Russell Martin quoted himself. The pain during change, that wasn't the pain, mate. That was a torture chamber.
Yeah, when you speak there about what Russell Martin said, I've seen a wee clip of his interview that he put in, that was out in Sky Sports News earlier today. And logically, I understand what he's trying to say in terms of it's going to take a wee while for things to work. But for me, and from as well with previous managers that we've kind of went on this journey with as well, although this one's probably the worst so far, I would say, you can see sort of increment improvements in what we're trying to do. I'm really struggling to find what we're trying to do here, and it's really clearly not working. That I'm really not sure with it with Martin. It was an awful lot of pain on Tuesday night there. I said to you when I met you and Lee out in the concourse at half time, it was actually uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable with the atmosphere, you know, and I've not felt that at Ibrox in a long time. I didn't enjoy it. I really hate it, and it was like I'm going to leave. We all discussed that I might leave. We might leave. Stayed around, maybe talk about it, but it was a horrible evening. I felt it was. I didn't enjoy it one bit on Tuesday night.
You're spot on, mate. It was. When you go 1-0 down, it was horrible. You could hear the Ibrox crowd immediately go, honestly, Rangers, that's just a calamity. And we're already on the lookout for reasons to beat Russell Martin over the head with something as well, because of the lack of progress, because of anything that we're seeing, where we're not seeing it. At 2-0, I was like, this is going to get disgusting. I really honestly thought this is going to be really bad. And at 3, I've not, even myself included in that, I gave the team every bit of my thoughts. I stood up, I was shouting so hard, honestly, I nearly passed out, because it was a horrible place to be. It was a horrible thing to sit and watch, and you're seeing players basically sell the jerseys, aren't you? They didn't want to be there. They couldn't control it. They couldn't make an impact on anything, and it was a horrible place to be. Really uncomfortable place to be. Everything was horrific. It was one of the least, and if not the, well, I think Liverpool was pretty unenjoyable. I'm not going to lie, I didn't really enjoy that very much, but that was very bad. That first half experience, that 20 minutes is probably the worst I've ever felt being at Ibrox, where I thought, my goodness, I can't figure this out, and I can't figure out what we're doing.
Yeah, Carney, on that, you know, I mean, we all kind of knew that something like this was coming from the games that we've watched with our own eyes coming up to this. We've all said, we said at the Para game, a decent team's going to destroy us. They're going to rip us to pieces. And to be honest, Club Brugge could have probably should have been up by more than 3 at half time. You're being honest, because we were a bunch of wet wipes out there and that night. And
I'm shocked that Bruce took their foot off the pedal. I mean, they could have annihilated us. They really could have. It could have been in that first half, especially because Rangers didn't recover until the second half. And Bruges were poor in the second half. They really didn't look good at all. They looked like they'd accepted that the tie was pretty much over. But for them not to, in that first, not to just put the foot to the floor, honestly, they could have scored as many goals as they wanted to at that point. They really could have. We were all over the place, honestly, just an absolute mess to watch. Players just not doing their jobs, players not wanting to be there, and yeah, as I say, it was a capitulation from top to bottom. It really was. Ross, a lot's made on. You can blame the manager for that. Some are saying no, it's the players' fault, etc. I'm a belief it's a combination of the both. What happened on Tuesday night, and I think we're learning this new philosophy of football, the way Russell Martin wants to play, but the players aren't implementing it. They're either not implementing it or they're not understanding what Russell Martin is asking them to do. we cannot go into games against any half-decent team and play as wide open as we were on Tuesday night, because you will get punished. And I'm not even, I mean, by half-decent, I mean a team like St Mirren at the weekend. Like, they will get chances against Rangers. They'll get chances against this backline. It's, in my opinion, so far from what I've seen, it's not working.
No, it's not. It's not. And there has been a good bit of time in between now to get it working. I'd still think that in pre-season, again, I'm not making excuses just now, we looked quite underprepared in pre-season. I think it's potentially coming to roost just now. I still think the players need a good bit of time gelling, which we would have hopefully had by now. It is quite concerning. Wait, you're spot on about, if we're so open, we're going to concede a bit of chance that we are. But also, in return of that, you'd at least hope that we would, be a bit, counter-attacking forward with that. I don't see that either. There's no, you take the, all right, okay, we'll be open, maybe we can see a few chances. If there was stuff come up the other end of the pitch, there's nothing just now. There's nothing at all. So that's probably the most frustrating thing for me. I think it is obviously early in the implementation stages. I don't know, has Russell Martin got who he needs, who he wants? And I mean, we'll come on to players later on, but there's just a real lack of optimism. Let's be fair, there's a real lack of optimism for not just a new manager, a new players, a new era. We came into this season literally American flags gung ho. We were buzzing for the start of the season. You're now looking at the end of August. You're behind in the league. You're looking to be part of the Champions League. It's not good at all. And Sunday needs. I did not think we'd be in a position of saying this, but the fact that we're going to St Mirren away and it's a must win game it's remarkably poor. And yes, I'm not looking forward to Sunday. I'll be honest, gents. We shall get onto that when the time comes. But the style just now is nothing that I don't think any of us can relate with at all. It's not anything that you can look at and go, right, there's something there. There's one guy in that, you know what? There's maybe two actually. There's one guy in particular who I genuinely, my hat goes off to him. It's Gassama. Everything comes through him for us. Honestly, the boy is outstanding. I'm a big fan of Rothwell as well. Thank you, Stephen, for the donation there. That's outstanding. Thank you very much, mate. That's brilliant. I do like Rothwell. I'm a big fan of him. But in terms of the real sparks in the team just now, Gassama is it for me. And we can't be having that. This is, if you want to win a league title, we can't be relying on Gassama by himself. So there's recruitment still needed, that's for sure. If Russell Martin wants to make an identity of a Rangers team, then we're going to need more recruits than what we've got just now, because what we have just now is not delivering. And before we know it, it'll be 6 points, it'll be 8 points, it'll be. I won't get into it. I'm on the water here. Remember, I've not got anything to keep me sane. Yes, there's plenty negative talking points that I hope we wouldn't have had at this time of the year. But we do. But hey, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, Scotia, Russell Martin was nobody's first choice, right? There's not one Rangers fan that I spoke to anyway. I don't even think anybody that tunes into the pod that I can remember saying, "Oh, Russell Martin is the guy for me, go and get him," even when the first kind of links were made with him. So he is up against it really from the get-go. And in that regard, I can kind of feel sorry for him. It's not his fault that he's got the job. He's been appointed the Rangers manager, then he kind of knows the task that's in front of him. My biggest concern though, mate, honestly, is... and there's no point in beating around the bush, there generally isn't. Russell Martin now, even for, and I mentioned it on Tuesday, the internal optimists of Rangers fans that want to continue to back the manager, back the players, this and that. Russell Martin, for me now, and in my opinion, because I try and be as optimistic as I can for as long as I can, but he is ridiculously close to end game, mate, and it's the 22nd of August.
Yep. It doesn't help Martin himself that obviously, like you say there, none of us were really going for him as our first choice. No one was really excited by it. We all kind of seen what Southampton fans were saying about it, and that he'll stick to a system, will be rigid, they won't do anything. I think they get Southampton up to the Premier League, but did they finish fourth, come through the playoffs, didn't they? And they spent an awful lot of money to do that as well. Yeah. Yeah, his end game. I mean, that's obviously offsets him, I think, and then the results. We all said at the start of the season before we'd actually played a competitive game that he's going to have to hit the ground running and get the fans on side, and it's been the complete opposite of that. There has been every single game, barring the game against Pilsen at Ibrox, we've not been very good. I don't think some of them have been absolutely honking. It doesn't get the fans on side. The football that we're getting, we're going to have along to watch. People are watching on their TV screens. It's not enjoyable football. The vast majority of the game is not enjoyable. There's wee flashes occasionally, but it's, and for me as well, what it feels like is it's like, and I don't want to hark back and, well, we're going to have to compare him to other managers we've had, but since Gerrard, it's been steadily getting worse every next successive manager. And we're like, everyone moaned about Gio playing the horseshoe football against teams with low blocks like your St Mirrens, etc.
Mm-hmm.
That horseshoe was getting played further up the park than I've seen us play between Stutter, Giga, Raskin, Rothwell, Butland, Stutter, Giga, waiting for this amazing wee pass. Yeah, it's I do think it's difficult to say, but I do think this weekend probably is end game. I think we probably all know it's inevitable. Maybe not right now, but it's not far off being inevitable. And like, how long do we stick with it? I think because it's not been great, and it's like I say, it's not been overreactionary. I mean, I know he's only had 6-7 games competitively into the season. That maybe you would normally say, yeah, that's far too soon to give a reaction, but we've been here before, and we have to compare it to other managers and stuff, and it's not fun at the moment, to be honest.
It's not, and I mentioned to you as well just before we come on that I'm torn with myself about what am I just denying what's in front of me? Am I just trying my hardest not to think to myself, we need to go through another recruitment again of another manager? Like, because I'm, as I say, I'm kind of torn with myself. I'm like, do we stick this one out and see where it leads us? But as you say, Ross, because he had very little backing when he was appointed Rangers manager, nobody was jumping for joy to bring him in. We kind of knew exactly how he was going to play. He has recruited, the club has recruited a lot of players now. I just say I'm probably at the point where I'm going, if you don't win on Sunday, and I mean I don't win, and I like, a draw is not acceptable. I don't think in any stretch of the imagination. I honestly don't see how he'll turn the Rangers fans back round in his favour. I honestly don't. No matter who we go and really sign, I don't see a way back for him, because I think that I would say maybe 80%, 85%. If he left tonight, people would be happy about it. And for a Rangers manager, no matter what, obviously I know we're in this whole new era, new owners, new structure, new this, trying all this, changing the culture, changing mentality. Yes, all of this. If you don't show the fans a little bit of something to believe in, you won't keep them on side. And he said it himself. The fans we are this football club. So we are the ones we're the lifeblood of the club. So as you say, must win. I think anything other than a win, then I honestly don't see how he recovers.
No, not at all. I don't know. I don't know how we stay in the level of sanity that we do if we don't win on Sunday. Let's, if you look back to last season, St Mirren was not an easy opponent for us. It's one of the games when we were on the pod speaking about the fixtures coming up. It was actually this fixture at the weekend that I was looking at with a bit of dread, because St Mirren away from home last season, out of the 4 games, we lost twice, drew once, and I think we won once as well. But it's a team that we've not historically done well against. Another point as well is that a good few hammer throws in there. How will Gassama go up against him? How will Danilo go up against him? It's very much in St Mirren's favour. I know that they've had a mixed start to the season, but regardless, we need to get this. Speaking about identity, just simply the identity of Rangers. I don't want to sound too buffy cards or bumper sticker here, but Rangers should strike the fear at the folk. Like, Rangers should genuinely you come up against Rangers and they are the old one of the old firm teams. You should not ever come against a St Mirren, a Dundee, a Motherwell, and expect anything but 3 points. And I know that I probably say that quite naively because I've only seen 20 years of Rangers. But I still I get it to an extent that's Rangers are the team who you should fear to come play against. And if anything, I actually probably back us more away from home now than I do at home, which should never be the case. Ibrox should be the fortress that we pride itself on. That's not been like that for a good few years, really. And especially results like that. Results like that during the week is probably ones that frustrate me the most, mate, because that's when the whole world's watching. That's when you pop up on your highlight reels later on and you see Rangers rattled, right in the front of your YouTube page, right in front of your Twitter. That's the embarrassing bit for me. So there's a bit. You should have a bit of pride. We need to get that pride back, both on the global stage like Tuesday, but in the country. Don't let these teams just walk over you, psychologically as well as physically, because teams will come in there thinking, "Oh, Rangers, nothing at all." So we need to get that identity back. And it's a results-driven business. You need to win, or it's, as you've seen, you don't get very long. So it does all begin on Sunday. It should have began at Motherwell. Don't get me wrong, but Sunday's at least somewhere we can kick on. But how many times have we said that, mate? We know we've been here very many times.
Too many times, mate. Far too many times. I've just started a poll in the chat and on YouTube that I'm curious to see. And the question is, if Rangers don't win on Sunday, should Russell Martin be sacked? So get your votes in there. I'm interested to see everybody's thoughts in that. So get in the live chat. Even if you don't really put in your comments in the live chat, just go on and click it. I'm genuinely intrigued to see what the outcome will be if we don't win, what your opinion would be about should Russell Martin stay in his job or not. Scotia, I'll move on a wee bit to the style of play. Look, we know Russell Martin isn't going to change anything. I think the fact that on Tuesday night he still chose not to change anything when we were in such a horrific state, we really were. The players were missing. We were making error after error after error. Not really making any sort of impact in the game. We were our own worst enemy, for sure, on Tuesday night. But the kind of style of play that he's trying to implement, I've yet to see it kind of full-flowing, barring maybe the Pilsen game. That's maybe one bit of this you've seen with the impact that Ant-Man had as well when he came in. You were like, fucking well, it's something completely different, winger to winger. We were scoring goals. I was like, brilliant. Kind of what you're looking for. Obviously, I think that's helped by the fact that we had a striker that's half capable anyway, and Cyril Dessers playing and not Danilo. And I'm not saying for him to come and ask me, I'm not saying Dessers is the answer, but I would play Dessers, one-legged Dessers over Danilo every day of the week. Because he'll do a job better than Danilo will. So I think that slightly impacted how we choose to play. But the style of play itself, Scotia, can this be rectified? Surely with the players that we've signed, right, we have to be better than what we're showing. There has to be something that we can do to get more out of the players, or is the system so unbelievably strict and we must adhere to this, we must not change, that he's actually taken the instincts out of the players, the attacking instincts, the footballing instincts, the decision makings, that they be decisions that make a difference in terms of creating goal scoring opportunities, because we're so rigid to this system? Is he stifling players, basically? That's what I'm getting at. You're on mute, Scotia. You're on mute. There he is.
Sorry, my cursor took a wee wander there. It's difficult to say without actually being a fly in the wall and sort of listening to what's going on in the dressing room and stuff. But I think it kind of is. From what you can see on the pitch, it looks like the players have been instructed to play this way. A lot of the times you see the players, you can see them in matches, like visibly like sort of stopping and then turning around to go back the way so that they maintain control of possession via a pass, which more often than not is back the way, rather than maybe doing what comes naturally to them in terms of playing a ball, or maybe a wee bit of a risker ball or something up the pitch. It doesn't seem to be working there. For me, one of the big ones that I noticed almost straight away in the Pana game, and it's kind of noticed it again, and potentially could be a reason for our the first goal we conceded Tuesday night there. is the high line, defensive high line that we're playing. I'm not really a fan of it. I don't think the players are too comfortable with it. That first goal that they scored on Tuesday night, that's a goal that you've seen teams score all the time. Not all the time, but it happens regularly that this wee mix-up can happen. And if that had happened to Rangers, but under the previous management teams, you could maybe just mark it down to being one of these things that happens. It's a mistake, miscommunication. Unfortunately, that's not in isolation to all the other wee mistakes that we were seeing. And then defensively, I think we're getting the work. I mean, we've been poor at defending set pieces for quite a while now. I think we're getting worse. I'm not liking the way that we're defending set pieces, and that second goal for me was really, really bad that they scored. And this style of play that he's playing there, the players aren't really sure what they're doing. We're not doing it. And with the style of play, I think he needs to change it. But like you said, I don't think he will. We've kind of been told that he won't change it, and I think he needs to change it because it's not good enough. It's not helping that we're playing players out of position. Mm-hmm. We're playing players that, for me, we're leaving players on the bench. Like, for instance, right now, I don't want to go way ahead to like my teams, but right now, Aarons isn't really showing anything for me in the games that he's played so far. I don't think he should be starting ahead of Tav. I think when Tav came on, he was our best left back and our left right back when he came on there on Tuesday night, and I think he was probably similar on the game against Alloa when he came on. Did he come on? I can't remember. I kind of erased an awful lot from my mind. Yeah, but I'm not enjoying this style of play at the minute. It's not showing me anything, and I'm not seeing anything that I can kind of cling on to say this is going to work.
I agree. As dilly-dally as Shooter is on the ball, right, it's not really John Shooter's fault, right, because this is the style of play that Martin wants. The ball was to get to Shooter, and Shooter, Davey, thank you so much, mate. Very much appreciated. That's fantastic. Thanks very much for the donation, mate. That's great. But it isn't really Shooter's fault, because this is Russell Martin that's saying, right, we'll do this, we'll get it to Shooter, and Shooter will play the pass. He'll play it out wide, he'll play it forward, or he'll play it to Giga again for the 15th time, and we are waiting for the team to come out. And even on Tuesday night, you're 3-0 down against Bruges in that first half, and we are still waiting for Bruges to come out. Why would Bruges even think about coming out? They'll go, no, we'll wait for you to make a mistake because you've very much got a mistake in you, and then we'll capitalise on it because you'll be wide open because of the way that we're trying to play. So I don't see how the style of play is going to improve with Ross, as he says, the players are on fire in training. I've seen somebody mention that in the comments as well. The players are on fire in training. I honestly don't care what the players are like in training. That makes no difference to me. I like their energy. I like this. I like that. Do you? Well, on the pitch, we're not seeing that energy. I think he's made too much of how Rangers played in that second half. I thought Bruges kind of fell out of the game. I don't really know why they chose to approach the second half the way that they did. Rangers were okay in terms of in a comparison to the first half, but putting me and Scotia on would have been okay comparison to what we've seen in the first half. So no disrespect, Scotia. So this style of play that we are potentially meant to be seeing, for me, I think he's leading down a path right now that he's not going to get the time to say that this is what it was meant to be, if that makes sense. I think the longer that he sticks to this rigid system and plan, well, it'll be his downfall, really, because ultimately it's not started well. We're not seeing progress. No matter how much he wants to say how good they are in training, that's irrelevant. On the pitch, it's not working.
No,
that's kind of the same. That's kind of the same question I gave you the last time. I've just remembered that. That's kind of where I ended on it the last time. Put it this way: what changes would you make then to this style of play? Do you have any idea like what would make a difference to this?
Antonio Cholak. Simple as that. No, I'm joking. I mean, I don't know. I think it's very much for me. The ones we've heard about, going into this season is aggressive, a lot of running, a lot of whatever. That's brilliant. If that's the style of play we're looking for, that is ultimately what we're after. I guess kind of going down a bit of a potential a sidetrack here. With the style of play, if you look at our current squad just now, right? If especially, I was thinking about this does strike the feeling to me. Our defensive line, the majority of them this time next season won't be our players. You look at Giga, you look at Aarons, you look at, even the likes of the new boy who brought in Magoma. If we're building this style of play, you build it, and then this time next year, that style of play, you're going to need to implement into a whole new load of players. So for me, honestly, this situation man just now is probably actually a deeper rooted issue. And there's a loan move today that's just came out, which I'm sure we'll get into, which kind of also it's kicking the can down the road again, which I didn't expect to be kind of speaking about under this new management. But I don't know. I feel that it will get to this time next season, and the style of play we've been looking for, you've had a year to make it, but there's nobody left to play it for you, because all your players you'll have, you'll have Fernandez there, you'll have Butland there, obviously. Tav's in the last year of his contract, Suter's the last year of his contract, no Giga, no Aarons. It's very much back to square one, especially when it's, how much have we seen about playing out from the back? You need to implement a whole new back line for that. So there's a lot of deep-rooted issues for me that just seems that it does scream out, almost let's do it all again next year. It's seriously, and I can't believe that's the case. So there's a lot of issues for me, but the style of play thing, it's very. I'm not a tactical genius myself, but I'd like to see a bit more attacking, just threat,
intent,
yeah,
yes,
intent,
like actually trying to attack, yeah,
exactly, intense a bag on word, mate. And as I say earlier on in the show, Gisama's the only guy who's given that for me. He's a bit of a live wire. He's brilliant. Even Ant-Man, like his debut, he looked genuinely like we solved that right wing problem. And obviously, steady. And I wish I did stay steady, because I got well too ahead of myself with Ant-Man. And don't get me wrong, he's still a long time to go, but he looks like he almost lacks a bit of confidence now. It's just that he's not got that bit of dynamism that Agisama does have. So I don't know, just a wee bit of belief into the players. As much as yes, we've taken 2 points in the league, just now, there should still be a bit more confidence playing for Glasgow Rangers at the end of the day. You should have that wee bit about you. But that's what I mean about the identity. You need to get that back. So for me, mate, you're bang on with the word. It's intent, just a bit more attacking. A bit more attacking intent, and some set piece defending would be lovely with it. I know it's come up to Christmas. There's a lot to ask for. Just some set piece defending and a few goals would be nice for me.
Scotia, in terms of the players that we have, some of the signings I do like. I think Gassam is great. I think Ant-Man as well. I think there's potential in that boy as well. I think he was kind of stifled the other night, but again, I'm not with him or writing the guy off. Rothwell, I'm 50-50 on right now, to be completely honest. Aarons, I don't see it. I agree. I think Tav's a better option there just now. Magoma's come in and looked great. Obviously, Giga had a dodgy night on Tuesday. But again, I think he's okay. But it kind of made me think about the rest of the team. And we always speak about the spine. And Ali always spoke about the spine of the team as well. The spine of the team's exactly the same. It's not changed. You've still got Butland, you've still got Suter, you've still got Raskin, Diomande in the middle, and you've still got the same three strikers that you had last season. Is that an issue? Is that the problem? Is that something that needs addressed? I think we all agree that we're going to need another left back now that Jeffy and Radvan have gone. We're going to need we need a left centre half. I think we need a left back. I think we need a striker for sure. The other three, but the spine of the team being exactly the same, is that an issue? Do you think? You're on mute again.
Sorry, I'm all at sea tonight, man. All at sea. I'm knackered
after
work.
Just like Rangers, mate. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, you say the spine of the team that is there. I don't know. I think in terms maybe the midfield spine there, Raskin, I don't know if maybe the board were maybe thinking Raskin would be off this transfer window. I think we said at the outset of the season that probably get Raskin sold this season to get the maximum amount of money we can from him. That's not kind of happened yet. And like you with Rothwell, they've brought Rothwell in there maybe to take that position to play there. I'm quite similar to you in terms of where I am with them. I'm going to. I mean, I know. I've seen someone say in the comments earlier when I was speaking about Aaron's that it's very early to judge them, and I do agree with that, and that's usually the way I approach things. But like, sort of past experience sort of shows you that your kind of first gut instinct about players tends to be the right one. They don't really turn it around. So yeah, I'm similar to you with Rothwell in that position. But
I'm trying to think of one that I've wrote off. I think Raskin at one point. I think I'd pretty much said, "No, this isn't going to work with him," and he kind of turned that around. But the rest of them, I think I've been pretty spot on with. Right now, it's Danilo and Diomande for me. That are the two that I'm fed up of seeing. I really am fed up of seeing the both of them. So Diomande has shown spells, but I was just trying to think. Has anybody proved me wrong recently? I was wrong about Brandon Barker. There we go.
Yeah, so but the spine of the team, who's it? I mean, Butland's there, and I think we need a replacement in Butland anyway.
Yeah.
But like you say, the three positions you mentioned are like the three most pivotal for me at the minute. There's more I would like to get. The midfield, like I say, I think there was maybe a feeling, just get that impression that they maybe thought Raskin would be off, but he's still here at the minute. And up front, up front we've spoke about before. I'll repeat it again. I said that I wouldn't be overly bothered going into this season with like Dessers and Danilo. Not Danilo, sorry, Carney, sorry, before you shoot me, sorry. Dessers.
I was like, sorry?
Man.
Sorry?
I like the alliteration there, so that's why I said that. No, Dessers and Igaman, I wouldn't be overly bothered, but it's something we need to look at. And if we can bring someone in, then great. And I think we do need to, because we definitely need a striker anyway as an option as well, because like you say, Danilo's not there for me, and I'm sure one of them will be gone. So the spine of the team probably does need a wee bit of work, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Blue Bills are blue. Thank you so much for the donation, mate. That's very much appreciated. And yeah, the scenario that you said there, a legit scenario by the 20th of September after the next 5 games. We could be out of the League Cup to Hibs. We could drop another 7 points and be 11 behind, maybe more. Out of the Champions League. Is that enough to sack a manager? I would say yes. I would say yes, but whether they will or not, I'm not sure. Big Dave as well, thank you very much for the donation. Russell Martin's system, not for our league. Everything he sees fee tells us it won't change. Worrying anyone could see 60 plus goals lost a season and think he would work again. I think something in that as well, considering how many shots we have conceded, shots in our goal that we have conceded. So yeah, look, there's a long way to go for Russell Martin, there really is, but I think there's a belief around the board that they would choose to move him on. Honestly, right now, I probably don't. I think they are going to they'll probably stick with him because of the amount of money they've ploughed in and the players that we've brought in. So I think there's a long way to go. And now that we've come to Sniper, 33 months, man, 33 months. Absolutely nuts. Thank you very much for sticking around for 33 months. But now that we're going to move on, I'll quickly go back to that poll, even though one guy seemed pretty upset for me for doing it. But we have 114 votes. 63% say yes, Russell Martin should be sacked on Sunday. Should be sacked on Sunday if Rangers do not win. 37% obviously saying no. 115 votes there. Didn't change anything. So, 37% saying no. I'll ask you, lads, Ross, if Russell Martin doesn't win on Sunday, should Rangers sack him?
I'll probably go back on my words here. Not for me. I don't think he should. No. I reckon that he's the absolute minimum is probably the season. I reckon he'll get the season. And obviously, don't get me wrong, things could go horrifically wrong. Like if we are sitting 4th, which I wouldn't write off, by the way, lads. I would not write off by the looks of it. But if things like seriously were to go downhill, then obviously yes. But I do think I agree with what he says, in which there's take a bit of pain, yes, but like with a bit of results with it. So I do see him staying. I would keep him. I do think we need to try and endure a wee. Just read something. We need to build. Ultimately, that's the thing. We need to build. And the new board. Sorry, I can't see them looking to make these kind of almost short-term gains, potentially that a sacking a manager would do. I reckon that for the long run. So for me, I reckon he stays.
Scotia.
If he gets beat or if he drops points,
If we don't win, if it's another draw, or worse, if it's a draw or worse, does Russell Martin? Would you sack him?
Would I personally? I think I would probably, if it was me making a decision, I probably would, and then that would be the second manager, the immediate successor.
Would you appoint
me
as the manager? Would you go right if you were making the decision? You would go, Carney, you are the new Rangers manager. That's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. I like you have a wee shot. You can't be worse than what we've seen from some of them.
Exactly, mate, exactly.
Yeah, I think if it was me personally, I would. Particularly if we get beat at the weekend, which at the minute doesn't seem like it's that big a stretch of the imagination. But I don't think it will be. That's kind of similar to Ross. It's difficult to judge with obviously the new owners and the sort of higher ups in the board and things, and how they actually will go about things. Will they be cutthroat, or will they sort of want time to kind of implement a style of football and sort of build from this season? Because I think what to remember as well is this season, I can't believe I'm muttering the words, but finishing second, you're still getting into Champions League qualification, although it is a longer route. It's like, if we were a season down the road and it was like finishing second gets you into the Conference League qualifiers, then I think maybe they might be a wee bit more cutthroat. There's maybe a wee bit of slackness in the rope there for him in that regards, but I'm honestly not sure. It's difficult to judge because we don't know how they're going to operate. We've not heard from him, and I've seen people say that we've not really heard from him. If he drops points, then I fully expect to hear from the board. At least they need to kind of try and appease the fans somehow.
I would completely agree with that, mate. You kind of took the words out of my mouth. Just quickly, Justin Muir, 34 months, mental, absolutely crazy. Thank you so much, mate, for that. That's very much appreciated. I would be the same. If we get, and I know that wasn't the question technically, so I know I'm bending the rules, but it's my podcast, so I can. If we got beat on Sunday, I would be sacking him. I'd be like, nah, we can't continue on. If we drop points, he probably gets another week. But I would be like, no, I think he would have to go if we get beat on Sunday. That's generally how I think how big Sunday is. But I do agree with Scotia, what he says. No matter if we drop points on Sunday, the board are going to have to come out. They're going to have to come out and give us an idea of what the plan is here, because let's say we've seen this movie so many times recently, and I don't want to go back to the search for a new manager, but I also don't want to sit and watch what I've watched for the start of this season, for the rest of the season. There is no progress. There is no sign of progress either. It doesn't look like we're making any sort of inroads into this style of play that he wants to play that's going to lead to promising results. So yeah, if he gets beat, I would be sacking him. If we drop points, I expect to hear from the board. So yes. Stephen's just asked, did we ever get the old YouTube account recovered? I hope so, because I think this is it. I'm pretty sure this is the same one. So I hope so. And David Dodd, what's Big Egg doing? Just get him in. Honestly, get him in now. Get him in the now. We'll move on to slightly more positive things, Ross. Rangers have managed to get a deal worth $6.5 million for Jeffy, according to reports. Fantastic business, you've got to say, by Thelwell. That's incredible. And Ridvan is also off to Turkey as well. So 2 left backs gone, a loanee brought in. But the deal for $6.5 million, fantastic.
It's absolutely remarkable, by the way. That's whenever I saw that, I'm not gonna lie, I look back at it and you always see the fees getting rumoured. You know it's always gonna be an undisclosed fee. But I was like, not on your Nelly. Are you getting £6 million for Jeffy? Outstanding bit of business, genuinely outstanding. And you know what? Fair play to the lad. You know, I do hope that Jay goes out there and does well. I believe he's already played his first minutes for Palmeiras. So you know, he's a guy who I did love his energy going forward. There was times where he was bombing it up and down. And it was very, very refreshing to see, especially when, it's all due respect to Barisic, but the amount of times that you saw Barisic go back and you were just off, okay. the fact that Jeffy just went forward and gave that a wee bit of energy, I absolutely loved. So, well, obviously, he won't be in two positive minds for the way he's played recently. But listen, he's a young lad. I'm sure he'll develop, and it's a great club he's going to. Palmeiras, obviously, just starting the Club World Cup. So all the very best to him. And as much as I hate to say it, lads, this is the sort of fee for a player that we've seen the other side of the city get, and you almost sit back and go, like, how have they done that? Our club's now doing that. We're now actually getting a fee that, you sit back and go, fair play. And this is literally our model that we look for. But I hope that we don't. Obviously, Russell Martin has made it very clear with his signings that down south is where he's looking at. That's where he's kind of going off. Look at Jeffy, look at Igaman. That's the sort of money you can get if you look elsewhere. I'm sure that Thelwell will be all about that. He'll be looking to get his hidden gems, I hope. But we can't underestimate the talent that's out there in the world and the profits we can bring from it. So all the best to Jeff. It's a great move for both sides. And yes, but please get a left back in very, very soon because we are very, very light.
Yeah, Scotia, it's unbelievable business, honestly it is, and no disrespect to Jeffy, but I'm amazed at it. I really am. It's two guys that we said with Ridvan and Jeffy. Obviously, we don't know the details with Ridvan's fee or whatever's been agreed, but it looks like his will be a sale as well as Jeffy, so that's money coming in for the both players. Disappointing that Davies is alone again and Cifuentes I think's alone as well, which is disappointing. It would have been nice to get them completely off the books because clearly they're not going to have a future at the club, but you can't win them all, I suppose. But $6.5 million for Jeffy, we have to go and sign a permanent left back. We cannot bring in another loan player to play on that back line because it is shaky enough as it is.
Yeah, for Jeffy himself going, yeah, I know I was willing to give Jeffy a chance this season, more so than you, and certainly you and Ali were. I know yous were kind of.
I was right. What I will say is I was right about him. When I went to see him against Union Berlin and I seen his defending first hand, I was like, oh my goodness, what is that? So I was right about that. Not that I'm smug about it or anything. I'll just do my smug face though.
No, so as I say, I was willing to give him a go, but that was probably kind of premised on the fact that the rest of the defence wouldn't be the bin fire that it is right now.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, not just the defence, how Rangers defend, not just, so I don't want to solely put the blame on the players that are playing in the defensive positions. It's how Rangers defend in midfield, how we defend in attack. It's really bad at the minute, which the fact that your manager's an ex-centre half defender, you would think it would be slightly better than it is at the minute, but yeah, so no, how 6 million? Yeah, is it £6 million or euros? Do we know?
I think it's pounds, but I think obviously there's sell-ons and add-ons and all this bits and bobs, but the deal's worth about $6.5 million, according to reports anyway, which is again it's mega. It's mega, it really is.
It's a brilliant bit of business. Like you say, that if he's not in Russell Martin's plans, which it clearly looked like he wasn't going to be because we were starting the seasons with Aaron's playing there. Yeah, brilliant. We brought him in from just under £1 million, wasn't it? We got him in for about 800,000, and then yep, that's excellent business, and it's what we really should be doing because I think Jeffy's got a certain skill set, right? Like Ross mentions there, that when he first came in, you could see his attacking intent. It looked good when he was sort of coming into the sort of edge of the box, coming inside a wee bit. I was quite enjoying that. He kind of fell away last season and then came back a wee bit. I felt started showing a wee bit of signs of promise again. But brilliant business to get 6 million for him, and then hopefully that can be the case with others. But like you mentioned there, Carney, with regards to Cifuentes and Davies, it's better than nothing. Is all I can. The only way I can really describe it. You would like to get them off the books completely because we'll obviously still be paying. I would imagine the majority of the
Cifuentes' wages probably. I'd imagine Davies is going to be quite high because he's quite a high earner as well. So we will be paying quite a significant chunk of that, I would imagine.
And yeah, like you say, definitely use that money if we can to go in and get a permanent left back in that position because as Ross mentioned earlier, and in the group chat at the weekend, pretty much all our starting lineup in the back at the minute won't be here next season. unless there's something that we don't know about in terms of Aarons and McGoma being sort of loans with potential options to buy that haven't been made public. I know Giga's probably, that's unlikely, but Giga, certainly.
Yeah, I would think so. But yeah, I just say when I seen it, I was like, wow. And according to Blue Bills Are Blue, I think that's Chris Jack he's referring to. I doubt it's Ryan Jack anyway. That says it was 4 million up front and 2.5 for the add-ons. So a decent bit of business that. And if we recruit our money if we get anywhere near recruiting our money for Ridvan again, that's good because they'll soon find out that he'll play for 2 games and then be injured for 4 years. So good luck to both of them.
Ridvan will go back to Turkey and play the full season, play every minute of every game.
He will be
brilliant.
He'll be amazing, mate. He'll be absolutely superb.
He'll make Ryan cry when he goes back to Turkey and has a stormer of a season.
Yeah, I think Ryan is probably torn right now as well. I think he's probably a little bit upset, but a little bit happy at the same time. We'll move on. We'll finish up with the preview of the St Mirren game. As you say, we've kind of covered it as well going through this. Obviously, look, they'll fancy their chances. I don't think any team in Scotland right now would not fancy their chances playing Rangers. It's going to be a tough ask, Ross, on Sunday. I'm not expecting. I'm generally not, just based on what I've seen, I'm not expecting Rangers to be terrific on Sunday at all. But it's I've to say all the time, but going away is always kind of tough, especially when kind of we are showing up as it tends to be. But nothing but 3 points is acceptable, and honestly, there's just nothing that Russell Martin can say to me that's going to make me believe otherwise. It's critical for Rangers to get a league win on the first league win of the season on Sunday.
100%, mate. As I say earlier in the show, it's not a venue that I fancy going to just now, not at all. We need to put ourselves in some sort of forward trajectory before this Old Firm. We went and obviously saying you need to get 9 points out of 9, and here we are. But listen, we can only do what we can. Only do what's in front of you just now. We've put ourselves in this position, and we need to try and rebuild from it. So it will be a very, very tricky game. But I think another thing that's just sticking in my head is the fact that our team is so young. Will the St Mirren, the hammer throwers, if you will, is it literally a match made in heaven for them? Are they just gonna, try and get the old muscles out, if you will, and we'll see how it goes. But I see, it would be a perfect game potentially for Dessers, who can hold off like Gogic, etc. How will Danilo get on? How will Gassama get on? It's very, very interesting. So it's definitely one that I'd rather sleepless night than Saturday, and it shouldn't have to be that way, but it will be. Steve Rogers, thank you very much for the donation, mate. That's unbelievable. Thank you. But yes, we go into Sunday with some hope, and that is about it. That's about it.
Scotia, I should not be looking forward to a game against St Mirren full of trepidation, mate. Full of going, I honestly don't know what's about to happen on Sunday. I shouldn't be feeling like that. Not at this stage of the season. I really shouldn't. There isn't many Rangers fans really that I think they can honestly say that they think Rangers are going to show up and it'll be a routine win. It'll be anything but, in my opinion. I mean, happy to be wrong. More than happy to be wrong. But as I say, mate, trepidation, anxiety, all these things I shouldn't really be feeling a game against St Mirren. No disrespect meant.
Yeah, no, I'm at the exact same, Carney. I think even if we'd got off to a brilliant, perfect start in the league and we were sitting in 6 points right now and we were going into the St Mirren game, I think we would probably be sitting here saying it's going to be a tough game, and not downwashing it. It's going to be a tough game because of how we played against them last season, and it's just the psychological wee factor that they've got from last season, from the 2 draws. The 2 wins and a draw that they've got. I'm not looking forward to that. I honestly don't know what way the game's going to go. St Mirren, from the flashes that I've seen of them this season, I mean, I know they're sitting just a 1 point behind us. They've only picked up a draw against Motherwell, but they've played decent in patches. Seen a wee bits in their first game against Celtic. Speaking to folk that support Celtic and watch Celtic more than I do, they've said that St Mirren played pretty well against them, but and Celtic were pretty rotten. But St Mirren, weren't under the cause. They have been. I noticed. Took a wee look at their sort of possession stats for the because Russell Martin's a possession-based football. It's in my head. So I looked at their possession stats, and in all their league games and the League Cup game against Hearts last weekend, they're sort of only got like 30 or no more than 40% possession for them. But they're playing against us that we've not really had very many shots on goal. That's something that needs to be rectified by ourselves. Is the lack of shots that we take on target, it seems to be at the minute, and the amount that we concede as well is an issue. So it will be a very interesting game, given the form that we are going into it as. And
some laugh, this, isn't it? Honestly, some laugh. It really is. Brilliant. Yeah, but you're right. You're spot on. I completely agree. Honestly, 100% agree. On that, we'll finish with our team predictions and our scores. Ross, you can go first, mate.
Rightio. Okay, so with Butland and goal, got your back four as I think Tav. I think you're right, mate. Aaron's. I think you boys are right. Aaron's. I don't think should be starting. I think Tav should be given a go. I think you go Suter, Fernandez, because he's suspended, and then I'd be putting Magoma straight in there. Genuinely, I think the boy. Obviously, we didn't get a chance to chat about him, but he seems like a good bit of business. But I guess off a loan signing. I don't want to bring a dampener down to it. It was another loan signing, but for the time being, we'll enjoy him. But I'll be starting Magoma. Your midfield three, I'm going Rothwell, Raskin, Cameron. I think Cameron for me would be a decent player to start. And your front three probably picks itself: Ant-Man, Gassama, and Danilo. I would love to see Egerman. I don't think he's quite ready yet. Do you even? There's a good point in the comments here. Do you start Moore instead of Ant-Man? Has Mikey Moore deserved a start? It'd be exciting two wingers. But I'm going 2-1 Rangers. I've said it. 2-1 Rangers with a Tavernier first goal scorer. Running it back, bringing it back the years. Which, by the way, is 2 goals and 2 appearances for the skipper in the league. So we'll see if we can make it a third. But that is my prediction for Sunday. I'm very interested to see what you guys think.
Yeah, I'll go next. My team would be Butland, Tavernier over Aarons, Fernandez and Suter. Magoma, straight back in. My midfield three would be Raskin, Rothwell, and Asgard. And my front three would be Gassama. I would play Egerman because I just there's no point in playing Danilo. Honestly, there's no point at all. So I would play Egerman even if he's not there. If you can get 55 minutes out of him, then fine. I would definitely start him. And Mikey Moore's a shout on the right, but I think I'd stick with Ant-Man just now. That would be my prediction for the starting 11, and my score prediction is win Rangers, please. Scotia, your starting 11, your score prediction?
Yeah, my team backline's the same as you guys. Butland, Tav, Suter, Fernandez, and Magoma. Like Ross mentioned there, I thought Magoma, I don't want to say he had a good game. He didn't have a good game because no one had a good game on Tuesday night there, but he wasn't as terrible as the rest of them. And him
and Gassama were at the top of the pile of whatever we watched.
Yes. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so that's who I'd go for. It'll be interesting to actually see how the dynamics work between Suter and Fernandez. Obviously, both will be playing on their preferred side. I don't know if that'll improve things for Suter in any which way. I'm going for a midfield of Raskin, Cameron, and Asgard. I had the Tab Berzrami playing in there, but I think I'd prefer to go with Cameron and I am Asgard. And then up front, I'm going with Ant-Man and Gassama. And it's going to be Danilo, but
that will be.
I mean, I was even thinking maybe Finlay Curtis wouldn't suit the system that Russell Martin's trying to play. But my thinking in putting Finlay Curtis there is he's got an eye for goal. And he scored in pretty much all the games he's played so far. So that's possible, but I think it will be Danilo that starts the game on Sunday. And I'm going for I think the score is going to be 2-1. But I couldn't tell you if that's 2-1 to Rangers or 2-1 to St Mirren. And I do think St Mirren will score first as well.
Well, yeah, obviously. Surely that's a given. No, mate, look, I get it, mate. As I say, I mentioned the kind of anxiety and trepidation around this because, as I say, I don't think any of us are really feeling pucker about it. Midday and Sunday, as I say, I won't be sitting down at 11:45 to watch it feeling particularly pucker about things. But yeah, just win, Rangers. Honestly, just win. There's some positivity for your Friday night. And that'll do us for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for getting involved in the chat tonight and the donations. Very much appreciated. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel before you go. That would be mega. We're on the charts to 8,000 subscribers, and we passed 3 million views on YouTube as well, which is absolutely bonkers. It really is. So thank you, everybody, genuinely from the bottom of my heart. That really means a lot to all of us. So thank you very much indeed for joining me tonight. Ross McLean, thank you very much, mate. Away and, I don't know, cry into a pillow or something, mate, and make yourself feel better.
The words right out of my mouth. Honestly, there's no better way to spend your Friday evening. Yes, it's what needs to be done. Listen, it's a tricky situation just now, folks. The club is not in the position we probably want it to be with the optimism we had going into the summer. But as we say, it's very early. We do apologise if it comes across negative. We don't like doing this, but it needs to be done. We're not going to lie to you. We value every viewer, and we would only speak the truth. So listen, Sunday will be. Stay sane. I can't believe I'm needing to prepare folk for this, but yes, just strap yourselves in, as Mr. Pearson would say. But thank you as always to everyone in the chat. It was a good chat tonight.
Yeah, it was good. Scotia, thank you very much, mate.
Yes, cheers, Carney. Cheers, Ross. Cheers, everyone. I came on this pod, didn't expect to be quite as negative as I probably was. I'm usually an optimist with Rangers, but like I said at the start, they're slowly chipping away at me, and they're starting to break me, I think. But yeah, let's hope it's all smiles on Sunday afternoon. Let's hope that's all we can do.
That's all we can do, mate. We've got to try and get yourself up for it, I suppose, and hope that we see a miraculous turnaround from what we've seen previously anyway, or most recently anyway. So yeah, we will be back on Sunday with a reaction after the game, win, lose or draw, that's for sure. We will be here. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Good night, everybody. Cheers.